right, Rachel Schaefer back again with another twin family video, and as you can see, I have a Switch here. And the reason for that is because this is pretty much the last time you're going to see it. And the reason why is because this is going to my buddy who's right now sitting in a rehab facility for his legs, and this is part of a trade that I'm doing with him. And I'll be trading this Switch for a brand new one and a modified Sega Dreamcast. And I know what you're thinking, Rachel, this is just a Splatoon 3 unit. It's not worth a new Switch plus a Dreamcast. And to that I say, au contraire, it totally is. And I'm going to show you right now why. Now, on the surface, it looks just like a regular Switch, right? Got the tempered glass, which isn't much to really... Always should protect it, but it's really nothing to write home about. And on the back. But when you turn it on... Wait a minute. What's that doing there? That's not supposed to be there. That's because this is a modified Switch with HWFly. And you got the tin, you could tell by tin foil being there. You could tell by the games being on here. I installed a bunch of games for him so he can play in the hospital. You know, basically his cartridges backed up as well as his digital games. So this way he has everything on a 1 terabyte micro SD. And especially if you're going to be tied up in a rehab for a while, especially if you can't really walk, you kind of need stuff to do. And by the way, it wasn't, I had this arrangement with him long before he went in the hospital, long before he went in the rehab. It's just that he's starting to get his back pay from his disability soon. So that's why it took this long delay. But as you can see here, we got tin foil with a certain shop that I shall not name, because the way Nintendo's been so happy, I only want to give the bare minimum. I'm not going to show you how to get this stuff. I'm not going to, like I usually do. If you have a modded Switch, you pretty much know where to go. But that's not the focus of this video. The focus of the video is to literally show off an older modded Switch that I'm basically trading away, because the Switch that I'll be getting is going to also be going off to get modded, but with a catch. Because the new Switch that we're getting back is going to be fully customized. All that was done with this is it's the Splatoon 3 unit with the HWFly inside, and I don't have the proper tools to open the back, or else I would show you. But I'm going to show, I'll show probably a picture of what an install looks like. Because there are good reasons to have a modded Switch. First of all, and the biggest reason I have it modded, is because I have a lot of digital purchases on my own account, which isn't on here right now because it's his, as of this afternoon. I have pretty much all my Switch library is digital. I've invested thousands of dollars over the past 7 years into my Switch digital library. And especially with how things are constantly being taken down, delisted, I don't want all of my purchases to completely disappear. If I'm spending now $70 per game, I want to know that I have a permanent copy of it forever. Especially since a lot of these companies like Sony, Microsoft... See, Microsoft, I don't mind. I have Game Pass, so I don't pay for any of those games. PlayStation 5, I have copies, but obviously there's no way to, you know, back that up right now. For the Switch, there is. This way, I have a backup of everything that I have. I have a backup of all my game cards, the few game cartridges I do, and I have a backup of my full digital library. So this way, God forbid any of these are delisted or Switch goes offline or whatever, I have a copy of it. Especially you people that have a 3DS, you people that have a Wii or Wii U, You know the pain because the shop is non-existent anymore. And especially with the way Nintendo's been going after people. I mean, I get it. They went after Yuzu because they were charging for the emulator. They were charging for patches for a game that wasn't even out yet. Get that completely. But it's the domino effect because people don't understand that. So we've lost Citra, a 3DS emulator. We've lost FBI, which was a major tool of the 3DS, even though it's been backed up everywhere. But still, people are getting spooked. And that makes it even harder to be able to get this stuff done. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't pirate. That's completely up to you. I'm not going to read you the riot act or whatever about that. But whatever. The point is, at least we have a system that I can legitimately back up all of my stuff and not have to worry about, oh my God, I'm going to lose access to it because I'm in control. So anyway, that rant over. The whole thing is that when we get the new Switch in, we're going to be showing that off. We're going to be unboxing the OLED Switch that we're going to be using. And also, we're going to be showing you some of the tools that we're going to use to completely upgrade the Switch. The new Switch that's getting in is going to have a brand new Joy-Con shells, brand new back, stickers, dock. It's going to be a completely 100% customized Switch. And I'm going to show you some of that stuff before we send it out and the finished product when it comes back in. Obviously, I can't show you the install because I don't solder, so I'd have to get that sent out. But it's also going to have the Hall effect joysticks because if you have a Switch for any amount of time, you know these suffer from drift. This doesn't have drift yet, thank goodness. But at the same time, future-proof, and also, you know, the less I got to send to Nintendo, the better. So it's going to have new Joy-Cons, a new Joy-Con back, and clearly I don't want to do that to a Switch that already is a limited edition. So I'd rather do that with a base Switch, like a white Switch or a gray Switch, because those are a dime a dozen. You can get them anywhere. But for these, I mean, yeah, they're still cheaper, like if you find them on eBay or whatever. But still, I don't feel comfortable modifying a limited edition as far as, you know, putting new parts on. Like, the Joy-Cons that I grabbed, I don't want to replace these Joy-Cons with them because they're still good. They still look good. So my buddy, when he had to unfortunately sell his original Switch, you know, not original Switch, but he had this exact model, you know, when he had financial difficulties, he regretted selling it. He didn't want to, but he had to. So at least now he's going to get this back. He's going to have a Splatoon 3 unit back. This wasn't his unit, by the way. This is always mine. But because of the trade, he's going to have a Splatoon 3 unit again. But this time, it's going to be modified. So it's a win-win for both of us. So now that you know what we're looking at for a modded Switch, it's time to look at the parts we're going to be putting in a new Switch, as well as the Switch itself. And then after that, we're going to show a few weeks later when it comes back in. So really exciting time for me. Really exciting time for gaming. Yada, yada, yada. So we're going to use the magic of video, and we're going to show you some of the parts that are going into the new Switch. And as you can see, some of the parts we're going to be using in the Switch build. Now, the only things that aren't here are the tempered glass, because the tempered glass is on the way, and also the dock stickers and the bezel we're going to be using, because that's not going to be sent out with the build. But we've got these parts in. First of all, this is going to be really important for you really big Switch fans, you Switch aficionados out there. These are the Hall effect joysticks. This is a Gill kit. And if you've ever spent any amount of time with a Switch build, you'll know Joy-Con drift is a big thing, right? You see about it. You know, it's just a simple little thing that always happens. This will make sure it never happens again, because these use magnets for the joysticks, so they will never, ever drift. So that's definitely going to be important, especially since we're going all out with this Switch build. Next thing is you want space, right? Especially for a modded Switch, you want a lot of space. And the previous one had a 1 terabyte, as I told you guys. We're going to go up the ante. This is the SanDisk Ultra 1.5 terabyte. And I got this from B&H. This was $117 after tax and shipping. And it may seem like a lot, but these cards usually go for like 2 something. So definitely want to pick this up when it's on a sale like that. As far as I know, this is the largest micro SD there is out there. There's no 2 terabyte out there yet, and I think the Switch caps out at 2 terabytes. But anyway, this is going in the Switch. It's funny because as far as SSDs go, this is going to be higher than I have in my Xbox and my PS5. So I'll show. I do use external drives, but not SSDs. So this will be the largest, even larger than my Steam Deck, which is 1 terabyte. But for a lot, when you're going to load up on Switch games, for a lot of the Switch games, this is going to be perfect. And last but certainly not least, let's move these to the side, is this. And this is the shell kit we are going to be using. And when you see this, it's going to be unreal. And I can't wait until the build is finally done to see this all together. But this comes from Extreme Rate. Yes, I got it from overseas, so it took some while to get here. And I'm trying to make it nice and neat. And as you can tell from this, we are using a Game Boy build. There we go. We're using a Game Boy build. So this is going to look a lot like the original Game Boy. And I originally wanted to try to get a Super Nintendo done or like a Super Famicom. But once I saw this and once I saw it put together, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to use this instead. And it's very high quality. It's almost like Nintendo first party quality. The whole set was $50, but it's worth it. Especially when you see everything that comes with it. And of course, these are the buttons, and they gave us 2 button sets because this one is the face buttons as well as the Joy-Con buttons for the left Joy-Con. But we're going to only be using these for face buttons because we're going to be using these for the directional buttons because the original Game Boy had a black control pad and magenta-like buttons, so we're going to be doing that. And as you can see, this set also has not only those buttons, but also the triggers as well, and bumpers, so that's going to be good. We've got your various plastic pieces that we'll need, as well as all the screws you're going to need, so you don't really need to take any screws out. You could just use all original. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, it comes with 2 screwdrivers. So you could do it yourself, and these are meant to take off the back plate and stuff. I could do the back plate probably somewhat easy, but I'm not so confident with everything else. So figure since I'm sending it to the guy to put the chip in, to have him do it, because it's only like, the back plate is going to be free. Oh, by the way, I have the, damn it. the part under here for the bottom, where your USB-C goes. So can't forget that part. Because this part has like the game card door, and the game card door is right here, things like that. Because the back plate's going to be free to change because he's got to open it anyway to install the chip. And the Joy-Con shell swap is going to be $15. So in hindsight, not a bad deal. And of course, these are going to be the Joy-Cons we're going to be using. So as you can see here, it's in 3 parts because the joystick and the battery. You can see the battery would go there. And once this is all put together, it's going to look like this. The original Game Boy, and as you can see, it's got the little button thingies like on the original brick, where you can see it. These ones are correct because they're on the bottom. These ones are on the top because that's all you could fit it. This mocks the speaker. It's not like sliced. It's just print, so that's good. Of course, the IR sensor will go down there. Nothing on the back, nothing for the back either. And then it's got this Joy-Con, although I think this is sort of a modified one for the Super Nintendo. but it still looks pretty good. So I cannot wait for this build to get done. So here are all of the pieces we're going to be using. And that seems like a lot of pieces, but trust me, when the final build is done, it's going to look spectacular. And you've seen the parts. Now it's time for you to see the Switch. Alrighty, we are back. It's been a few days. Well, to you, it hasn't been a few days. To you, it's only been a few minutes, but we got our Target package in. Sorry for my voice. I'm starting to get messed up. And this is the main piece de resistance. And this last part here. And a little welcome top. And first of all, we have our case. And I went with a sort of whitish gray because that's gonna sort of match the Game Boy shell. It's a Game Traveler case, but this is the big one that y'all wanted to see. And it is the Switch. And it's a standard OLED Switch that y'all are familiar with. And of course there's no sticker to close it. Just gonna open it from the side. I went with the white set because it's the easiest to replace, and also since we're putting the sticker on the dock, then it more blends in because the white unit. If I would have gotten the black unit, not black unit, the gray unit or the smash unit, it wouldn't have worked so well. Plus, I'm not gonna replace Joy-Cons on a special edition system. I'd rather do it with a common system like this one. Of course, you got your tablet and your Joy-Con. That's the one we're going to be sending in. What we're not going to be sending in is the dock, because as soon as the stickers get here, I'm going to be putting it on the front of this dock. And of course, you got your AC adapter, your puppy thingy, your HDMI, everything else. That's not going in. The only thing that we're sending in to the installer are these parts, because the Joy-Cons are going to be replaced with the Game Boy ones, and we're going to overhaul the shell on here. So we're going to take this plain OLED Switch, and we're going to make it an amazing Switch. So one thing I got to do first of all is put the tempered glass on. And I'm going to do that off camera. That just arrived yesterday. So as soon as we do all that, we'll be ready to rock and roll. I'm so excited. Are you guys ready for this? Cerveza cristal. Cerveza